It hasn't rained in 2 days, but it's been cool outside, and the ground is still real wet, so I can't get the trailer out there to haul cattle away, to haul the cattle to the veterinarian. And I got to get these animals the booster shot this week, so I can liquidate on this weekend, and then bring in new calves on Monday. With everything that happened, I got half of the calves have had their first shot, but the other half of the calves haven't had any vaccinations at all yet. And so, for me to get the animals their second round of vaccines, for me to if I give the animals the first round of vaccines this week, and then I get them their booster shot, they won't get the booster shot until the end of the month because the booster shot needs to be given to them 3 weeks after their primer shot. So their first shot is called a primer, and then their second shot is called the booster. And for me to give an animal a booster shot, it needs to happen 3 weeks after they get their primer shot. And so half the animals won't be vaccinated until the end of the month. But they will have their first round of vaccines in them, and so I'm not concerned about bringing in more calves. I just don't want the I'm just not gonna put the calves out on the field to fend for themselves until they've had both their shots of vaccines. Because they'll be exposed to the elements. They'll be drinking water out of the pond, and et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of bacterial illnesses. They could, accidentally they could get tetanus. Tetanus is one of the things that I vaccinate them for, and so they could get tetanus. They could scrape themselves on some rusty barbed wire and get tetanus, right? And they all sorts of stuff could happen. And so I give them broad a very broad spectrum vaccination. I give them vaccination for a lot of different things, from everything from BRD, from a respiratory disease to black leg to tetanus. I give them everything, okay? And so half the animals won't have their booster shot until the end of the month, but I'm not concerned about it. I figured what would probably happen is that I would sell four, and so I thought that the sale barns were going to be closed until January 15th, but they're not closed until January 15th. They're closed until January 5th. They're closed for Christmas. They're closed 1 week for Christmas, and they're closed another week for New Year's. And then after that, they're open, and they'll be open on January 5th. And so if they're open on January 5th, I'll just take another set of calves in on January 5th. Okay, I'm not on schedule to do anything. My whole thing is I already make enough money to effectively just I make enough money to pay for everything and grow my business by about 12.5%. I can ensure 12.5% growth a month. Okay, and so right now my financials are absolutely pristine. I'm doing very well for myself. Uh, and I can grow my business. I can ensure I grow my business by about 12.5% a month. And now it's just a matter of just me just why would I worry about it, right? I mean, I'm completely okay with whatever. I'm not gonna put myself at risk. I'm not gonna put myself at like a risk of losing half of my income, or I'm not gonna even take some small amount of risk for some trivial sum of money. Okay, more money's not gonna do anything. And my whole thing about more money is if I need more money, and I wouldn't sell my soul to the devil for it, right? I would just wait. I mean, if I just wait, my income is going up. I mean, what do I need money for, right? I mean, a very just a very just is if I need more money, I mean, a very realistic solution to this problem is to just wait, right? I can just wait, and if I wait, I'll be good to go, right? And so this month I will be bringing home. I'll probably end up selling four and then buying seven. And then on January 5th, I'll sell another four and then I'll buy seven. And I'll buy whatever I need as well. When I sell the four, I'll probably make enough money to buy nine or so. I'll sell four, I'll buy six. I'll sell four, I'll buy seven, something like that. I'll probably end up buying seven. Okay, I probably will. Just because the animals that I'm selling, for each one that I sell, if I sell four, I should be able to buy about 10. Okay, And I should be able to buy about 10. And so even if I sell four and I buy seven, I'll still come home with money. And so, with everything, the animals, I'll be bringing home seven animals on Monday. I'll be taking seven animals to the lease property. I'll be getting all the animals their booster and their primer shots. Half the animals will be getting their primer shot this week, and half the animals will be getting their booster shot this week. And then I'll just keep growing the business. So and maybe I sell four and I buy six. I'll figure it out. Okay, I'm not concerned about it either way. Even if I sell four and buy six, and I bring home the extra money, I buy everything that I need, hold out the insurance capital, etc., etc. Even if I do that, I'm growing my business by 100% a year. Okay, if I'm compounding a 50% every 7 months, that 50% will compound on itself, and it'll turn into about a 100% return a year. So one way to look at this is if I just sold four and I bought six for the entire year, if I did that for the next 365 days, I would effectively go from having 50 animals to having 100 animals, and I would be able to do that with absolutely zero debt. Okay, I do use a little bit of debt. When I do use debt, my whole thing about debt is that I leverage against something that I already have. Okay, that's the thing. It's like and the whole thing about don't leverage yourself to your own eyeballs, right? You don't want to use your eyeballs as a gauge for how much leverage you should take. Okay, when I leverage against something I already have. I'll leverage against the equity of my herd. I'll leverage against my cash flow. I'll leverage against something I already have. I'm not going to leverage against my imagination. Okay, a lot of people when they leverage against their imagination, or they leverage themselves to their own eyeballs. A lot of people do. Okay, a lot of people think that they'll leverage themselves to the eyeballs, or they'll leverage against their imagination, like buy themselves something that they can barely afford. And why do they do that? A lot of people will buy themselves things that they can barely afford so that they can go on a magical journey. Okay, and it doesn't turn out to be a magical journey. If anything, it kind of turns into a nightmare when you realize that your financials are in hot water, and you're sitting there, and right. I mean, it just kind of turns into a nightmare. You don't want to put yourself into a situation where you've effectively ruined your own life forever. Okay, you don't want to turn into a situation where you're enslaved to your own choices, because if you're enslaved to your own choices, then you're not going to be able to escape yourself, right? I mean, how are you going to escape yourself? And I mean, the whole thing is to not enslave yourself. A lot of people buy. I talk about the homes and cars. Homes and cars are usually it's people are effectively buying homes and cars usually for their own whatever, right? I mean, it's usually for their imagination. Okay, it's usually because of their imagination, and a lot of people can barely afford their homes and their cars. Okay, my whole thing is and I'm not looking to be a dick about it. I'm not looking to be a prick about it. Okay, when like me when I discuss what I'm doing, all right, I'm not looking to turn my life into a pity party. Okay, I'm not looking to turn my life into a pity party. That's not what I'm looking to do. I don't really care. I don't care what anybody thinks. Okay, it's it just is what it is. All right. If it was easy to make $500,000 a year doing anything, if that was easy, like it was easy for anybody to make $500,000 a year, like anybody could just wake up and do it, right? Then everybody would be doing it. All right. A lot of people would be doing it. I wouldn't. And my whole thing is I'm at a $500,000 right now, and my income is increasing, and my income is increasing very rapidly. I would actually anticipate that. Well, I was actually taking a look at my herd, okay, and here in about 3 to 4 months, I will start selling 7 to 8 calves a month. I will start liquidating about 7 calves a month, 8 calves a month. Right now, I will probably liquidate about 5 calves a month on the average for the next 3 months. But on that fourth month, 1 month after, I'll probably sell about 5 calves. Uh, I will probably sell about 5 calves a month for the next 3 months. But on that fourth month, I will start selling about 7 or 8. And so right now, I may be selling four and buying six, but here in about 4 months, I will be selling eight and buying 12. and that would be entirely with my own money. Okay. I am looking to re-leverage myself. It will take me a little bit of time to re-leverage myself. I'll have to talk to the banks about it. And as the banks give me money, I will. As the banks lend me money, I will invest the capital, and I will invest the capital and see how that turns out. And that capital will make me a positive return. Okay, that's the big idea. But here in about 4 months, I was taking a look at it. I have 7, 8 animals right now that are about 400 pounds that will be getting their booster shot. They're about 400 pounds, and they will be getting their booster shot this week. And I will take them out to the lease property. And I do have about 8 animals that are about 500 pounds. I have 5 animals that are 8, 900 pounds. I have 5 animals that are 7, 800 pounds, and I have 5 animals that are about 6, 700 pounds. And then I have about 9 animals, 8, 9 animals that are about 500 pounds, about 4 to 500 pounds, and then I have another 7 animals that are about 400 pounds. They're about 400. They're going to be more than 300. They'll be about 400 somewhere. I may actually end up having like 15 calves. I may end up having 17 calves now that I think about it. Well, I'll probably have about eight calves that are 500 pounds, and then I'll have another 8 calves that are 400 pounds, and then I'll have about 8 calves. I'll have about 8 calves that are 300 pounds. And then I'll have another 6 or 7, probably 7 calves that are 200 pounds. Okay, when I go to the sale barn, I will look for 200, 250 pound cattle. And so, yep, the animals, a few, 7 or 8 of the animals have actually been here for about 5 weeks, and they haven't gotten a single round of vaccinations just because I got so much rain. I did get such a drastic amount of rain. I must have gotten 10 or 11 inches of rain in the last week, and so I haven't gotten the animals in for their vaccination shots, and I am a little bit behind. But I'm not behind, right? I mean, I can do whatever the heck I feel like, and the whole thing about me is that I don't it doesn't mean anything to me to push the schedule an extra week. Okay, it's more important to me that I do things correctly, and it's more important to me that I get things done well than any kind of trivial thing like money. Okay, oh my god, I need to get my animals in for their vaccination. I don't have to do it if I don't want to. I mean, if I take a look at it and it's not a good idea, then I'm not going to do it, right? And so here, this week they will be getting their vaccinations, and half the animals will be getting their primers, half the animals will be getting their booster. Over the next 3 months, I'll probably end up selling about 5 calves a month, and then after that, I will start selling about 7 or 8 calves a month. And the big importance of that is right now, when I sell four and I buy six, but in 4 months, I would be selling eight and buying 12. And in all honesty, when I start selling eight and buying 12, I will re leverage myself, okay? I will re-leverage myself. I'll take a look at what's going on and determine what needs to get done. And when I leverage myself, I always leverage against something I already have. Okay, I already have something, and I leverage against it. It might be cash flow, it might be equity, something like that. I leverage against it. Okay, and so I reasonably believe, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, to me, it's not a matter of me getting there in 3 months. It's not a matter of me getting there in 10 months. It's not a matter of me getting there in 2 years. It's just more important that I get there, because as of today, I'm already very just well off. I don't concern myself with something trivial like money. Okay, I'm not concerned about money. I do very well for myself. I habitually make money. That's the thing about me, and a lot of people actually habitually lose money. This is something that I've seen that it's not funny, right? It's not funny. I'm not saying this to like be a doofus about it. I'm just being, a lot of people habitually lose money. And when it comes to habitually losing money, it's not. I've always said that the whole thing about being poor is that there's a very legitimate possibility that you being poor has nothing to do with you being a good person or a bad person. Okay, you're probably just an idiot. That's probably what happened. And my whole thing about doing well with financials is, from what I have seen, is to always put yourself in a situation. You're looking to always keep yourself in a situation where you spend less money than you make, and you're looking to invest the margin. That's how I've, from what I have seen, that's what made the biggest difference for my life. I did not take any of the money and do anything with it other than grow my business. I didn't do anything with it. All, these guns and stuff. I mean, I've been collecting guns for a long time. I actually a vast majority of these guns were actually purchased more than 5 years ago. I think in the last 5 years, I have maybe purchased in the last 5 years, I have maybe purchased maybe three guns. Okay, maybe I've purchased three, four, something like that. Maybe, maybe five. But these guns, I mean, if we talk about the average price of a gun, I mean, we're talking about maybe $800. Okay, so $800 over the last a year for 5 years is 4 grand. It's not the end of the world, right? $800 a year is not a big deal. Okay, a vast majority of my guns were purchased a long time ago. I've actually been collecting guns since I've been buying guns since I was about 18, and I've and so yeah. But I mean, I've bought a majority of my guns more than 5 years ago, and even the guns that I bought, I mean, recently in the last 5 years, maybe I paid maybe like $700 on the average for each one. Okay, I mean, I didn't I bought a handgun for. I bought a couple of handguns. One was $400. Well, and so I mean, one was $500, and so et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I don't. I invest my margin a vast and just to put things in like realistic perspective, I actually invest more than 100% of my income. I do invest close. I invest more than 100% of my income. And my whole thing about investing, right? And well, I mean, I guess I'll finish this thought first. The whole thing about it is if you put yourself in a situation where you spend less money than you make, you actually systematically make sure that you spend less money than you make. You are not spending more money than you make. You spend less money than you make, and you invest your margin into some kind of a stable asset that produces a positive return. The longer you can do that for, well, you're really looking to just do that for forever, okay? Because the margin that you invest should be earning you some kind of a return on your capital, okay? Your margin should that's the big idea. Your margin will produce you a return on capital, and when it produces you a return on capital, you're really looking to get it to a point where it starts compounding on itself to such a degree where it actually just it becomes a major source of earnings. Okay, that's the big idea. Uh, that's the big idea. All right, if you make $50,000 a year, and you have $50,000 in the S&P, and the S&P 500 makes you a 10% return, that's an extra $5,000 for you. Okay, and so that's the big idea. And if you have half a million, then it's 50,000. So you've effectively doubled your income, right? And the whole thing about it is that's the big idea. You're really looking to do that over a very long period of time, and the compounding effect is what you're looking to do. And I used my balance sheet as an example for this. I am starting to feel the effects of compounding very drastically. And the way that I described it, to just put things in a realistic perspective, is that 1,000% of five is 50, but 1,000% of 50 is 500. If I just did what I did for the next 3.5 years straight, if I just did what I did for the next 3 years straight, I would effectively end up with 500 animals. All right, and if I end up with 500 animals and I run effectively two set of animals a year, that's 1,000 animals a year. Okay, and 1,000 animals a year would be worth would make me about would be make me about maybe about $2.4 million, and the 500 animals themselves would be worth about $1 million. So I mean, we're talking about $3.4 million, 3.2, $3.4 million a year. Okay, and so realistically, if I just continue to do what I was doing for the next 3.5 years, and I just reinvested my earnings, I would effectively make somewhere around $3.4 million a year. Okay, and at that point, it's and even now it's whatever. Okay, if I legitimately needed more money, if I was like, oh my god, I need money. I mean, what do I need? What am I looking to buy, right? And if I legitimately need money, I can sell my cattle. I don't legitimately need money so I can buy myself a Lamborghini. Okay, I'm not looking to buy a bunch of just worthless things. I mean, if I legitimately need it, like a big truck, if it comes down to it, if I need a big truck, I'll buy it. Uh, and ultimately, when I buy a big piece of land, I mean, I'll need a place to live, right? And homes are not a great investment, but they are at least equitable. I can take the money that I make and buy a home with it, and then just take a loan against the house if I need to. So it's not that big of a deal. Uh, I make plenty of money. I'm not concerned about it. My whole thing about it is when I take a look at my life, I actually my whole thing is it's kind of this wonky situation. It's kind of like this the whole thing is like on a cosmic scale. I don't. It's kind of this strange situation where it's like I do so well that I can effectively do anything on the entire planet. I mean, I've effectively made it into the very, 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 very top end of the wealth chain of of just individual earnings. I've made it to effectively the very top. Okay, and the way that I described this skill set of making money with money, the way that I describe the skill set, like me, I systematically make money with money. And if you take a look at this from a just a broader lens, from an objective lens, the way that I described it, and the whole idea of habitually making money, right? It's like I have good habits. I have habits that just habitually make me money. A lot of people habitually lose money. Okay, and the thing about me is that I habitually make money, and I understand systematically how to make money with money. And the way that I described this was if anybody found one, two, or three investments their entire life, right? And you would really hope that you found this investment somewhat early, okay? Like me, I found this investment when I was 31. All right, I found this investment when I was 31. I mean, I'm not upset about it or anything. I mean, it just is what it is. And my whole thing is if I didn't go through what I went through, then I wouldn't have made it here, right? And I'm not looking to turn my life into a pity party or anything like that. I found the investment when I was 31, okay? And if I did not go through what I went through, I would not have been able to do it, okay? It takes a lot of you got to learn how to grow grass. You got to learn how to run a business, and you got to learn how to run cattle. I mean, all this stuff takes an immense level of know how. And if it was easy for a lot of people, can't even make $500,000 a year. And there's a very legitimate possibility that I end up about doubling my income over the next about 5 months. Okay, I will get very close to $1 million a year here with it, very soon. I don't know exactly when. I don't care when I get there, I'll let you know. But I'm not in any rush to get there. I already do plenty well for myself. I'm not concerned about it. Uh, and the whole thing about it is like if you went throughout your entire life, okay, if you went your entire life and you only found one, two, or three investments, if you found three, if you found even just one, and you were actually correct about it, and this is also just to get a grasp of the difficulty of how to legitimately do this, systematically making money with money and habitually making money, right? Having habits that make it so that you earn money. How difficult it is in terms of an objective lens is that if you found three companies throughout your entire life and you dumped all of your money into these three companies, you dumped all of your money into these one, two, or three companies, and you were correct on the one, two, or three companies, you would effectively become a like Warren Buffett level wealthy. You might even become more wealthy than Warren Buffett. That's how difficult it is to legitimately find one company. Like if you found one company and you were actually correct about it. Oh, this one company, I've taken a look at the balance sheet. The balance sheet is very good, and I can reasonably predict the revenue of this company will go upwards over the course of time, over the course of your lifetime, and you were effectively correct, and you understood why it was so. Even when it went down, you didn't get scared and you didn't sell your investment and you just kept buying it and everything, etc. If you found one company and you were right about it, And this is also what I'm, if you were right about it, you might even become wealthier than Warren Buffett. Because I mean, well, I mean, maybe not, but I mean, like Warren Buffett, bought Geico a long, long, long time ago, and but I mean, if well, I mean, but just to put things in relative terms, okay? Because the chance of this happening to anybody, it hasn't happened yet. Okay, the chance of this happening to anybody hasn't happened yet. Warren Buffett was like is the greatest at capital allocation from what I have seen. Okay, from somebody who can legitimately make money with money, Warren Buffett is extremely good at it, and even he did not put all of his money into one company. Even he did not have like that level of conviction, right? And he even he did not do that. Okay, and if he did that, I mean, he wouldn't have an investment firm, all right? But because I mean, why, how would he have an investment firm if he was just dumping all of his money into one company, right? And the possibility of it happening also, it's like, if is there even a company out there that can absorb such a tremendous sum of capital? I mean, Warren Buffett is sitting on like 300, and Berkshire Hathaway is sitting on like $320 billion worth of cash, and the company's worth like $1 trillion. So is there any company out there that can absorb $1.3 trillion worth of capital and make a 25% return on it? I doubt it. Right. And so this is also what I mean by the probability of this happening is so low that it hasn't happened to this day. Okay, but that's the thing. It's like, you got to think about the absorption of the capital as well. I mean, think about Berkshire Hathaway. Think about Warren Buffett having concentrated all of his money into one company and dumped all of his money into that company and have that company make over a 20% return a year. Warren Buffett made over a 20% return a year on the average, and that's how he made a 20% return on average over the course of his lifetime, and he ended up with that large sum of money. All right, even if I took my money and I made a 20% return on it a year for the next 50 years, I would end up with like $17 billion. All right, it could be anybody. It's not me. It's not just me. It's not just Warren Buffett. Like, if I took the money that I have right now and I only made a 20% return on it. Well, I'm not going to say only, because after a certain point, a 20% return becomes ridiculously difficult. But if I managed to make a 20% return on my capital over the next 50 years of my life, I would end up with like $17 billion. Okay, and so that's effectively what happened to Warren Buffett, except for he ended up with like 1.3 trillion, okay, 1.4 trillion, and so 1.5 trillion or something, and so I mean, but just to put things in a relative perspective, is that for this to happen to anybody, like the level of understanding that you would need to have to actually be able to go through with this, and to actually be able to be correct about this and objectively straightforward about it. If you found three companies in your entire life and you dumped all of your money into these three companies and you managed to make a 20% return on your capital, I mean, you would end up like Warren Buffett level wealthy. That's how difficult it is to legitimately do something like this. Not like this, but like what Warren Buffett did. I mean, to allocate capital like that. And the skill set, when you boil it down to what Warren Buffett did, was he was making money with money. That's the skill set. That's the thing that I'm looking to show people when I show, like me, when I show you my ranch, when I show you my cattle ranch. The big idea is to open your eyes to this skill set because you have probably never seen it before. And it's a very rare skill set. There are a lot of ways to make money. You might be some innovative person. You might be some whatever. You might be an innovative person. You might whatever be some kind of you may be whatever. You may be good at something and something else, but the idea of making money with money is a very rare skill set. And if you're looking to consider what I am talking about, just to put things in perspective, is if you found three investments, even if you only found one investment, you're even if you only found one investment and that investment was a good enough investment to effectively absorb all of the capital and still produce a 20+% return. If you even found one, like like me right now, if I made a 20% return on my business over the next 50 years of my life, I would end up with $17 billion. That's what it is. I mean, that's the idea of making money with money. It's very rare. And if like Warren Buffett, he made on average he made a 20% return a year, and Berkshire Hathaway is worth like over $1 trillion. Oh, the company is evaluated at over $1 trillion. They have $320 billion cash, and Warren Buffett himself has like $120 billion cash or assets, cash equivalents. All right, so I mean we're talking about like $1.5 trillion, and he did that from a 20% compounding. He averaged 20%, and that's where he got. If I made a 20% return a year for the next 50 years, I would end up with $17 billion. So that's the level of understanding that needs that it's just it's very rare. It is extremely rare to find somebody who can actually make money with money and do so at a rate that they can effectively absorb all of their capital and still continue to make a return. It's very rare and it's very difficult. All right, if it was easy, everybody would do it. All right, but something like but there, in terms of making billions of dollars of, it doesn't really, after a certain point, I mean, I guarantee it. Like, and if we're going to continue to use Warren Buffett as an example of this, I guarantee Warren Buffett is not sitting in his office right now thinking, man, if I just had 15 billion more dollars. I guarantee it, okay? Warren Buffett is not sitting there in his office right now. Oh my god, if I had just made 10 billion more dollars, if I had just made 5 billion more dollars, and then it would have all been different, okay? I mean, he has whatever, he made whatever 1.5 trillion dollars throughout his life, okay? Berkshire Hathaway's worth over $1 trillion. They got like 300 something billion dollars in cash, and Warren Buffett himself has like 100 something billion dollars, and he gave away a large portion of his money already. I mean, so we're effectively talking like about like a $1.5 trillion dude. All right, and I guaranteed he's not sitting there going, "Oh my god, if I just had 5 billion more dollars." All right, and money after a certain point, it's just whatever. I mean, I'm not even in I'm not in any kind of a rush or anything. And just to put things, this is actually a very very legitimate way of looking at it. If I made a 20% return on my investment right now for the next 50 years, I would end up with $17 billion. That's what a 20% return looks like. If I sold 50 cattle and bought 60, and that was all I did, and then I sold 60 and I bought 72, and then I sold 72, and then I bought whatever 80 86, and whatever it may be, and I just continued to do that for the next 50 years. I would end up with like $17 trillion, or not 17 trillion, 17 billion. All right, and even right now, I'm not concerned about it. I mean, I already make plenty of money. I'm not in any rush to do anything. Uh, my income is going up all the time. Okay, my income is going upwards systematically. I am systematically making money with money, and I understand my investment to such a degree that I can actually make money with money. And making money with money is a very rare skill set. There are a lot of ways to make money, and you don't want to sell your soul to the devil for money. There are a lot of ways to make money, but the idea of systematically making money with money is something that I look to really just open people's eyes to. I don't exactly know how I ended up with this skill set. I watched a lot of Warren Buffett stuff, and it made a lot of sense to me. And a lot of the stuff a lot I'm not looking to be like an arrogant prick about this. I actually was going like I was actually teaching myself the cattle. I was learning the cattle business. I'm not gonna say I was teaching myself. I read a lot of books written by other people. I was learning the cattle business, and as I went through it, I also just happened to find Warren Buffett's interviews and things like that. And I watched it, and I was like, man, Like this is a man who also understands. Like this is a man who has already discovered and gone through this idea, very very just in depth. All right, because when I understood that I can make money with money, when I understood I could systematically make money with money, all BS aside, if I had a set amount of money, I could grow that money systematically with an investment. No, no BS. I could legitimately do that. That was mind opening for me, and that's what I'm looking to pass on to others as well.